Hello, peace seekers. This is Saniqua White popping in to give you a piece of my mind that will hopefully give you some peace of mind. Today, I want to talk about the difference between compromise and concession. Many of us think that we're compromising with someone when we're really conceding to that person. And when you concede, a concession is basically you handing over and saying you lost. You're like, okay, I agree, you won, here you go. I'm conceding, congratulations. Okay, a compromise is you going back and forth with someone in a negotiation to where you both come up with something that each of you can at least see some part of what you're asking for in the final result. That is a compromise. So I'm a foodie, so I'm going to give you an example and as it relates to food. So say that your partner comes home and says, "What would you like for dinner?" And you say, "I would like chicken." And your partner was thinking they would like spaghetti. Well, the true compromise is chicken spaghetti or chicken tetrazzini, if you want to call it that. Because each of you sees at least a part of what you're asking for in the meal. But what most people do, and especially women, I'm sorry, ladies, but we do this a lot and you need to realize this. What we do is we concede. Same scenario. Partner comes home and says, "What would you like for dinner?" You were thinking chicken, they were thinking spaghetti. What you'll say is, "Okay, fine, we'll just have spaghetti. That sounds great." You think that that was a compromise because you gave the other person what they wanted. Really, that was a concession. You conceded, you gave up, you didn't see anything that you wanted. Now, true enough, if you really don't care about what's for dinner, fine, you can give the other person what they want. But if you really care what's happening in a situation, maybe it's not about food, maybe it's about a bigger decision, a major something that you guys need to decide on. This could be work, this could be family life, this could be church, this could be anywhere. If you care about the end result of what's happening, do not concede. It is not a compromise when you give the other person what they want just to keep the peace, so to speak. Okay? A true compromise means all parties sit down and talk about, hash it out. Okay, how can we meet in the middle? If we're on opposite ends of the spectrum, how do we meet in the middle? How do we at least see pieces and parts of what we would like in the end result? A lot of the times this happens between couples when there is a disagreement where one person just gives in and says fine so that they keep the peace and there's no more fight, there's no more arguing, we can go to bed or we can go to dinner or whatever we're trying to get to. But if you concede, if you do that enough times, what you're doing is building resentment toward that person. And the next thing you know, one of you is blowing up completely and you're bringing up things that happened 5 years ago. And the other partner is like, okay, that was 5 years ago. I thought we had moved past that. Well, the truth is, if you're conceding, you have not moved past that, especially if you're conceding under the guise that you're compromising, that you're trying to keep the peace, that you're giving the other person something that they wanted. That's noble, but not really. Do not concede if you care about the end result. Make a compromise. Because if you concede enough times, you're building resentment. And the next thing you know, you're so angry with the person, you can't even think straight. You can't even put a name to it. You don't even know why you're so angry. Because in this instance, all it was about was dinner. But because you have conceded over and over and over again about everything, thinking that you were compromising, thinking that you were keeping the peace and making the other person happy, now you're so angry, you don't even know how to come back from it. That's an issue. So what I'm saying is make sure that if there is a subject matter that you care about, that you're not conceding, that you're not just giving up or giving the other person what they want simply to keep the peace, that you are doing the hard work with coming to a compromise, because compromise is actually difficult sometimes, especially when two people are on opposite ends of the spectrum. That means you have to come back to the table and come back to the table again until you figure out something that works for all parties involved. That's difficult, but that's what needs to happen so that you don't breed resentment, so that you're not getting angry without knowing it, so that you understand what a real compromise is and not just a concession to keep the peace. Okay? I'll be back with you for more content. Until then, if you like this content that I'm bringing to you now, remember to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and comment. And be proactive about your mental health. Be well, and God bless.